What's up, y'all? This is Brave, and I am back for another review of The Chi. This is Season 6, Episode 11. The episode is titled Saints and Sinners. And before we get right into the review, I just want to let y'all know that you can go ahead and like this video. Please leave comments on what y'all thought about the episode. And give your girl a follow, okay? Subscribe to my channel. I'm going to have a lot more content coming out really soon. But now let's get on to the review. So I'm going to break this up by characters because it's a little bit easier to tell the story that way. All right, so the first person that I want to talk about is Rashad, y'all. He is in bed with Lady Mae, or should I say Alicia. If y'all know why I'm calling her Lady Mae, drop that down in the comments. But nonetheless, he's in bed with Alicia, y'all. He done put that thing on her. And according to him, though, she make him feel like a whole different man. I said, well, wait a minute. Did he put the thing on her? Did she put the thing on him? Okay? So Alicia, she gets out of bed and she ends up gifting him this leather jacket. Now, it's given that she probably got this leather jacket from Big Rob, and we gonna get to him in a second. But it's definitely like, so you went to your closet, dug out this old jacket to give to Rashad, girl, just in case these Negroes cross paths. He could be like, yeah, I used to own a jacket like that. Okay, girl. So she tells him that, she got a job for him. And he trying to make sure it's legit. Oh, baby, it's legit. You about to be head of security. And I'm just like, well, what kind of operations you running that he need to be securing, Alicia? She tells him that he's going to have to carry a gun. And he's like, well, I can't get no gun because I have a felony. And she talking about she going to pull some strings to get him a license. I said, girl, you doing a lot, but okay. Now, we're going to go ahead and move on to Rob and Tiff. Because there wasn't really too much going on with them. So we do see that she's trying to help him with his therapy. And here come his mama. I'm just like, girl, Tiff got it. Alicia, I need for you to understand that your baby, your child, your son, he is a grown man. He has a girlfriend who's with him right now. And clearly, they're in a good place. Let that man be with his girl. Also, I think it's so crazy that now you want to be worried about how he's doing therapy when you the reason why he even has to do this. You know your son was not no shooter, no killer, no nothing. But for you to give him some money to invest in his business, you the one who put him up to it to try to take some man out. Like, Alicia, get your mind right. Well, baby, here's another thing. There's a knock, knock, knock at the door. And who is it? It's Rob Daddy. Baby, who is Rob Daddy? Fine ass Leon. I said, oh, now it's making all the sense. So we learn that Rob, his dad is Big Rob, who is helping Victor on that case, right? So we also see a conversation happen between Tiff and Rob, right? And she just wants to know more about Rob's dad and his life growing up with his dad. But it's very clear Rob does not like his daddy. His daddy has clearly wronged him in the past. And when Alicia asks him, like, oh, well, what type of lawyer he is, he's like, oh, he the type to get murderers off. I'm like, oh, well, who did he get off? Let us know. Like, what's going on? What's the vendetta against your dad, sir? Now, we jump on over to Big Rob and Alicia because they having a conversation. And he's like, I already know that you're the one who put Rob in this predicament. You're the one who wanted him to go out and take Duda out. And of course she's going to deny it because she doesn't want to admit that. But we all know it's the truth. So he tells her that, he's working on her brother's case and he's defending Victor. Well, I mean, like, he's not defending Victor, but he's representing Victor. And she's like, oh, you're going to represent him, blah, blah, blah. You know that Duda is the one who did it. And he's like, yeah, I know. But at the same time, we need Victor to look innocent so that way Duda can be the one who's actually convicted. Now, at one point, these two got really flirty in each other's faces. And then she, leaned into him and he told her that she looked tired. I said, oh, Well, that's rude. I guess he's not circling the block. And then she told him that he was looking lonely. I was like, yeah, it's very clear that y'all two not getting back together. Nope, I don't see it happening. But they might surprise us. So later on, we see Rob meet up with his dad. And here's the thing. Big Rob was not even caring about Rob's feelings, about, how he's feeling in the moment, how's therapy going, anything like that. How is his life outside of him getting shot? Nothing. He's over there interrogating him like, oh, were you the one who shot Duda? Did you and Victor team up to try to take him out? Like, all of this stuff. And I'm like, yo, really? I completely understand why your son doesn't like you. Like, you clearly were an absent father. And now that you have this case, he's like, I want Rob to basically help him out. Why should your son help you out when you have never helped him? Because you're trying to win a case. Sir, do better. Now, y'all, we're going to move on to, you know what? Let's do Emmett and Keisha. I mean, not too much on Keisha, but it's mainly Emmett, okay? So, we see that Keisha has made Emmett breakfast in bed, and they chat about him, getting back to Alicia with that number of how much money he's going to need to, buy himself out from Duda. And according to Emmett, later on, him and his dad, they about to go play laser tag and all of this stuff, right? Next thing you know, these two, they about to have a quick little session. All right, fine. Y'all do y'all thing. So after that, we get to laser tag, okay? And we meet somebody, y'all. We meet Damien. And who is Damien? Oh, one of Darnell's other kids. Hell, I've been wondering, where is Darnell's other kids at? Because he has plenty of them. It's crazy to me that Emmett was so shocked and confused by this. I'm like, you do know that Darnell has like 10 other kids besides you. Like, just accept it, buddy. So, as they go ahead and try to play this game of laser tag, Emmett is giving this poor boy the cold shoulder. Also, I want to say this. I do like the actor who plays Damien. His name is Brett Gray. He is such a funny guy, and he's really talented. I like him as an actor. But back to the story here. Later on, we see Emmett and Keisha. They invite his parents over for dinner, and who's there? Damien is there. So now, Emmett has an attitude. I mean, it was to the point where he got so upset that his brother, or half-brother, like he likes to say, he thought that him and Keisha were married. Okay? He literally thought that Emmett and Keisha was married. And Emmett was catching an attitude about that. I'm like, dude, y'all act like a married couple. Y'all been living together for I don't know how long, raising each other's kids. Please relax. So then Emmett, he ends up talking to his mom. And she basically tells him that it's time that Darnell's other kids come around. And I'm just looking at her kind of crazy because I'm like, well, girl, when you decided that you was going to marry Darnell dusty ass, you should have been trying to, integrate them kids. Because like I said, when we first met Darnell, when Emmett went over to stay with him for a little bit, that man had like 8 kids. So I'm not even understanding why, his children coming around is even a conversation. Like, that should be an automatic. But nonetheless, it literally takes Jada to remind Emmett that, Negro, you have multiple children. You don't see Keisha complaining, so why should I be complaining? Hell, why should you be complaining? Because he was trying to, throw it on Jada, be like, and you think it's okay for him to bring his kids around? Like, Emmett, what the hell is wrong with you? Like, why would you even think that way? So, they go sit down so they can have dinner, right? Who blesses the food? Damien. I guess he had the spirit on his heart. Of course, Emmett had an attitude about that because he's supposed to be the man of the house. So, he probably feels like he should have been blessing the food. You know what I mean? Moving on. We learned that Damien needs a job, okay? That is why Darnell is basically bringing him around. Darnell feels like this boy can get a job at Smokey's. And, of course, Emmett is like, a job at Smokey's? I don't know him like that. Well, let the boy turn in a resume. Maybe you could get to know him. Like, what are you talking about, sir? Like, it just sucks how bad Emmett doesn't want to be around his brother. Like, dude, it's crazy that you feel that way when you took all the other youngins to be like your little brothers. Or is this too close to home? Oh, okay, I get it. But y'all, let's go ahead and move on. So, I think now we're going to talk about the kids. At this point, I can't even call them kids, but they will always be kids to me. They're young adults. And we got to get started with this church scene, right? So, we start off at church. Actually, this episode started off at the church. And it is giving, what's that one pastor? Is it Michael Todd? Michael Todd? That sound like it. It's like this popular black pastor. This whole setup was given his church, okay? Now, one thing about this church that they are at, it's giving where them dollars at. Where them dollars at, okay? Because everything was about money. Like, and it was crazy to me because who we had in the audience. You had Jake, Papa, and Bakari all at the church together. I said, oh, okay, this is a little weird. Now, Jake is checking out the first lady. And I'm trying to figure out how old is the first lady because she looked super young. And then we see they passing a collection plate around. Baby, this was the third time they passed it around. Because what? This church is all about them dollars. Okay? Now, after church, we learned that this guy is Kenya's dad. The same guy that Papa's dad warned him about. Because remember, Papa's dad did not like Kenya's father. And vice versa, I believe. Because he always said that, his church was so wrong. Kenya's dad church. And I can see why. So we actually see Kenya. She introduces the boys to her father. And next thing you know, her stepmom, Tatiana, comes up. And it is very clear Kenya don't like this girl. Hell, she closer in age to Kenya than anything. And Tatiana is over here speaking to Jake. He over here trying to flirt with her. I'm like, not too much. What are y'all doing right here? Don't you have Gemma to go home to? Oh, baby, we're going to get to that in a second. So next thing you know, we see Zay. I said, now, that's another thing. Why is the devil at church, y'all? Because why is Zay here? Baby, he over here trying to put the moves on Kenya. I said, damn, Papa. First you lose Maisha to Kevin. Now you about to lose Kenya to Zay. Damn, buddy. So, we then see the boys. They are riding around, smoking or whatever. And y'all, am I the only one who's wondering if Jake and Victor are still sharing this car? Or did Victor get like the upgraded version and Jake is, driving the old truck? Am I the only one who's wondering that? I digress. So, they talk about this pastor, and Bakari, he basically feel like all this man did was preach about money. And Jake, the only thing he wanted to add to the conversation was that, this man, he drive a fly car and all of this stuff. And, of course, Papa, he feels like, no, he's spreading the word. Papa, you're getting bamboozled, okay? This man is playing in your face. Now, speaking of circling back to Jake, baby, why did Pastor's wife follow him on social media? I said, lady, you doing too much for this little 18-year-old. Please stop. So, let me see where I want to go. You know what? Let me go ahead and wrap up Papa real quick. So, we see the little pastor man. He goes to Papa Daddy Church. And he goes to talk to Papa's mom. And you can very well tell that she don't like this man. Okay? She wants nothing to do with him. But here's the thing. Papa is so happy to see this man. Like, oh, Pastor Zeke, how are you? Blah, blah, blah. Well, hell, this man, he's buttering up to Papa because he ended up buying him some type of like audio mixer for his podcast. So his mom, Papa's mom, she puts two and two together like, oh, so this is where my son been hanging out. So when he leaves, Pastor Zeke, he leaves and they have a conversation. Papa's mom is like, oh, so this is where you've been going on Sundays. You've been going to his church. And Papa's like, I'm trying to find my own way and blah, blah, blah. And, his mom was basically trying to tell him, like, listen, don't lose yourself, trying to follow behind that man. You need to follow the path of righteousness and not trying to get rich. Now, Bakari, he tried to jump into that conversation or whatever, and Papa Mama shut it down real quick. Like, she did not want to hear from him. So later on, we see the boys talking, and Bakari, he questions if he should move out because it seems like, Papa's mom don't want him to be around. She probably does blame him for his involvement with Douda because everybody knows that Bakari is with Douda. You know what I mean? Like, that is a known thing. And the fact that she already knows who set her husband up and who murdered her husband, like, yeah, she probably don't want you around. But Papa tries to assure him that, she's just grieving. You don't have to move out. Okay? So, later on, we do see Papa. He talks to Pastor Zeke at his church. And now he acting like he wants to be Papa's mentor. Okay? To the point where he offers him an assistant position to work for him. But here's the kicker. Papa can only work for him. He can't work at Smokey's anymore. He can't do anything else. And Papa is down for it. Papa, no, buddy. This is not the path you want to go down. Like, I don't know where this storyline is going. It feel like it might take a twist and turn and go down to, like, the Eddie Long of situations. But we shall see where we going. I just don't have a good feeling about this man. But we're going to go ahead and move on. So, let's talk about Jake. Because, remember I told y'all he was flirting with the first lady. She followed him on social media. Baby, next thing you know, we see that the first lady is at Jake's apartment. I said, I'm disgusted at this point. Like, why are you flirting with this young man? And then she went down on him. I said, oh no, this is too much. These are still babies. I don't want to see this. But nonetheless, they get done with their little rendezvous. And she over here trying to tell him that, oh, you should come see me at church or whatever. He's like, I ain't going to no church. And she's like, no, but you should come just so that you can see me. Girl, he about to dog your ass out, okay? Get prepared. So, I think she ended up asking him, like, what did she have to do to get him to, like, see her again? And he was like, pray on it. I was like, oh my God. That was a good one, Jake. It really was. So, she leaves. And it's very clear in that moment that Jake had to realize, damn, I just cheated on Gemma. Okay? Now, speaking of Gemma, oh my gosh, we get to Gemma's apartment. She has her own apartment. I thought that she was living with Jake, but no, she has her own apartment. I said, wait a damn minute, you doing a lot with Brittany money, okay? Yes, you were paying for the studio time, but girl, she only gave you $10,000. So you done put a down payment on an apartment. You got your hair done every time we see you. You got new outfits on. What is going on? Can you get these kids' songs played on the radio? Like, can you get Maisha's song played? Or Britney's song played? I'm just saying. Nonetheless, Gemma ended up inviting her dad and Tiara over. And, like I said, she's doing a lot with Brittany money. Brittany ends up showing up because she's supposed to be selling weed to Gemma. But Gemma is trying to shoo her away like, no, my dad is here. You got to come back. Next thing you know, Daddy swings the door open wider and she gets invited in. Baby, when they was at that table talking to each other and all of that, you can feel and tell that there's a connection between the two of them. Later on, we see Brittany, she playing one of her tracks for the dad, and Jim and Daddy liked the music, surprisingly. And then later on, we do see Jim have a conversation with her dad about, how her life is not what he thought it was going to be. Okay, he thought she was going to go to the Ivy Leagues and do all these things, but, according to them, she's doing her thing as this artist manager. I have not really seen her do anything besides put them in the studio, but sure, Jim is killing it. Nonetheless, he has peeped already that her and Brittany got a thing going on. Jim are going to try to deny it, but girl, we all can see it, okay? So later on, baby, we see Gemma and Jake. They boot up on the couch, and next thing you know, there's a text that comes through. Jake, he getting all smiley in the face, and Gemma's like, oh, who texting us? And then that's when shit hit the fan, okay? Because she's like, if we're going to be together, we need to be honest. What's going on? And Jake was so honest. He said, yeah, some girl came over and we smashed. I was like, whoa. I was not ready for him to tell her in that way. You know what I'm saying? He was brutally honest. She was taken aback. You know what I mean? And he basically feels like, we're 18. You really think that you're the only person that I'm about to smash? Are you crazy? And then goes on to call out her and Brittany. And she has to admit that, oh yeah, I did kiss Brittany, but it was only for like 2 seconds. Doesn't matter. Like he said, have you ever thought about messing around with Brittany? Yes, you have, Gemma. We all know. So these two, like I said, they're having this honest conversation. However, he's not wanting to break up with her. No, he still wants to date her. However, he feels like they should keep their options open. I said, oh, okay. She was definitely overwhelmed with emotions. She didn't know what to say, what to do. All she knew how to do was storm out. I said, yeah, Gemma, go gather your thoughts. Go gather your thoughts, because that was a lot. Oh, she went to go gather her thoughts, all right. Because when we saw Gemma again, she was in the studio with little Miss Brittany, and she got her a cute little outfit on, okay? So, Brittany's in the booth, and she's on the outside. She literally leaves from where she is, goes into the booth where Brittany is, start dancing, dropping it low, and all of this stuff. And Brittany is like, well, I'm trying to keep things professional. And Jim was like, are you really? And she's like, yeah, because once we, cross that line, we can't come back from it. And, of course, Gemma, she's like, oh my gosh, you're kind of being dramatic. Because that's the vibe that she was giving. But I will say this. Girl, you ain't never messed with no lesbian. And she the real kind. So she just may turn you out and you're not going to know what to do with yourself, okay? So you might want to watch it, Gemma. I don't know, y'all. I don't think her and Jake going to last not too much longer, okay? So, we shall see. Lastly, let's talk about Bakari, you guys. Baby, you already know Bakari is going through it. Like I said, he wasn't sure if he should move out or not. We do see him gather his journal and sit down, replay what the professor told him, and he starts to write. He's talking about how him and his sister grew up, how they've been separated for so long, how now she's back in his life. He don't know if he can even trust her. He does know that Papa has his back. Rashad has his back. He wants to be a better man for Lene because he's in love with her. I mean, he even talks about the fact that, Coogie was his best friend and he took out the person who took out Coogie. I was like, okay, this is a lot. This is heavy, but I actually love this for this character. Like, I'm really glad to see his character grow. You know what I mean? But y'all, we shall see what is going to happen on the next episode of The Chi. Like I said, let me know what y'all thought about this episode. Did you enjoy it? Go ahead and like, comment, and subscribe to my channel. And I will talk to y'all in my next review. Bye, guys.